About a day and a half into this job, 2005 Ford Explorer Sport Trac heater core. Got the box out, putting the new heater core in. Going to document the reinstallation and probably play this in reverse for anyone else looking to do this job. It's definitely a lot of work, so be prepared. The first thing that I did was take out the passenger seat. You don't have to do that, but I thought it was easier to have that room to get this center console out, and then when you get the dash, you can swing it out further. All right, so this center console will slide out after you take out 4 bolts on the sides and then 3 on the bottom. Okay, so to get this rear cup holder and vent assembly off, you need to pull the cup holder out, and then you're going to have 4 bolts on the bottom, and those are going to go in to these 4 here. And then you got a 7mm bolt on either side of the console here. You got to get those out. Okay, next we're going to put this control module on here, and that's just going to screw in right here under these 4. And you do have this little arm you need to reattach to the mechanism here, and you just got the cable connection over here. Okay, this vent here will just pop out with the 2 screws here and here, and you'll be able to pull this whole thing out. This guy comes out. You can see it just a couple of clips. No bolts on this one. Okay, as far as the harness here, just got this reconnected, but you disconnect this guy. You can pull those out from the bracket there, disconnect your 12 volt, and then just pops out here. You got 2 more here and here. You can pull that harness out, and once you pop this dash off, you can pull the harness completely out of the way. And it'll come all the way back here where this pigtail is. And you might have a screw right inside here that you have to take out too. Mine didn't have one, but I think it was taken out on a previous job. But there is a little receiver back on the back side that attaches to this ductwork here. So if you have a screw there, you're gonna have to get it out. It could be from the bottom side too. Okay, so getting this center console out, pretty difficult. That is probably pretty hard. Part of the challenge is you've got this duct piece here. Kind of snaps into this piece here, but then on the back side you have to keep this in front of the metal bracket here. The trick to getting this out was this ducting here. You have to pop it off. So this part here, you have to pop it off of the piece there. All right, next is this metal bracket here. This guy just slides up in like so. And then there's 2 screws you take off there. Okay, so this is the center console, fully removed. Just a quick note, I had removed the instrument cluster before starting this job. You don't have to do that. I was having some intermittent failures on it, so it's been sent off for repair. It's another common problem with these Sport Tracs of this year. Nevertheless, not something you'll need to worry about. All right, so this kick panel here comes off. Just 1 screw there. You gotta take 1 over here. You have to detach the hood release, just 2 screws that go up through here into there. And then this whole guy will come off. So I got this kick plate back on. Again, just 3 bolts here. 1 there, 1 there, 1 here. Those are all 5/16 or 8mm head. And it fits in just like so. So you got with 4 13mm nuts. There's one here, there's one on the other side, and then you got 2 down below here as well. One up in here and one over here. And then as far as electrical connectors, you got this guy here, 7mm, take that out. And then there's a connector here, this guy. There's one more back behind here, so you gotta get that. These 3, they all come apart pretty easy. And as far as the yoke, you can see here, I marked it, but just gotta get a 10mm socket on that guy, loosen it up, that'll pop off. And then at the top of the brake handle here, there's a little ball joint, pops off, and a connector. You'll want to make sure that you take this guy out. This is the little cable for the shift indicator. It tells you what gear you're in. This guy cracked on me actually, so you'll see I got a little zip tie on there, super glued it back together. And as far as electrical connections, you've got 3 over here. This guy's actually left unconnected, so there was an extra green one, but these 3 here will connect over into these spots. And then you've got these couple of connectors. These actually go in on the side here. And then this main connector here plugs in kind of next to the OBD2 port down here. And that's really it for the steering column. This step, I think, is optional. I've seen some videos where guys left this in, but I thought it was easier to take it out. Let me swing the dash out and get more room to work on the heater core box. This actually wasn't as hard to get out as I thought it was going to be. You do have the little shifter guy here. You got to be careful that string on that guy comes around and attaches here. And I'd recommend you just take that off, and then you can just have it completely separate from the assembly, so you don't have to worry about damaging it. But this guy connects in. Basically, you got 4 studs here with nuts that you take off. You got the steering yoke there, it's 1 bolt, and marked it with some whiteout. You want to make sure you get that back in the right orientation. Then you've got the electrical connectors. Take those guys off. The hardest thing was actually this brake pedal connection. So this side just pops off, but this connector here, that guy actually slides in to this here. So I actually got that out by putting a flat head in here and then just using a hammer to tap that guy out. It's just in there a little too tight to pull it out by hand, but that'll pop this guy out. And that was the last thing that was holding me up getting this guy out. All right, this kick panel here just pops straight out. Can just probably use a trim tool, but just a few clips down here. And you do have 1 rivet here that you have to pull out. It's a little bit of a pain, but that goes back up in there. And the kick panel over here on the passenger side just clips, just pops right out. Pretty straightforward. Just comes right out of here. And that'll expose the ECU wiring behind it there that you'll need to remove. All right, just gonna put the glove box back in here, but this guy comes out pretty easy. You just got a piano hinge down here on the bottom, 2 screws just in here and here, and you can take that out. I see a lot of videos of people taking this airbag out. I didn't have to take it out. I advise not messing with it. Definitely make sure at the start of this job you disconnect the battery just to avoid any risks there, but did not have to take the airbag out to get to the heater core. Okay, so you got to take this piece out to get to the 3 13mm bolts holding the dash up on the top. So again, just using a trim tool, something like this guy here, you pop it out. It's a bunch of clips pop, and the only thing you got to be careful of is you do have this light sensor here, and that guy goes in this hole here, so you just have to pop that out carefully. A little flathead should do it, and then you can take this out. Got a connector here, hot wire and ground to the 12 volt. Got 2 connectors up there and the radio antenna, and 1 over here. And then this whole guy will pop back in there. Just a couple of clips there that pop out. So you'll want to use a trim tool to pop that guy out. All right, then you're going to need to take this vent out here, which is just 1 screw right here. You take that out, and then you'll be able to get this out, and that'll be a lot easier for pulling the dash down. All right, about to reconnect everything here on the passenger side. So I had to take off this connector here, this guy that goes up there. You got your radio antenna, it'll just separate out. Here in the back, you've got these vacuum lines here. White goes on the left, and that's gonna go. Look at that. Actually got a grasshopper up there. That's cool. All right, buddy, let's get you a new home. All right, grasshopper has been removed. So anyway, yeah, got these guys here. They connect up there. And then you got your ECU connections here. So you got a ground here, these 2 plugs, 2 into the module here, and another ground that connects right there. So get that all back together now. All right, so with the dash, I've got it back up here. I'm reinstalling it, but when you're taking it out, there's 5 13mm bolts that hold it in. It's pretty heavy, so a good idea to have a helper when you're taking this down. But one of them goes here, and then if you can see from outside, there's one right here. And I'll show you on the driver's side. On the driver's side, just got to pull this fuse panel off here. That'll reveal the 2 13mm bolts holding the dash on this side. And then there's 2 up top here that you have to get. And you can see them here and here. So again, just have a helper probably when you're taking that down. It is pretty heavy. All right, in order to pull this assembly back, I had a bolt here, and then a nut over here, and then 1 more straight down. Take those 3 off. And then I did have to take off the vacuum pump here and the reservoirs, just loosen those to get those out of the way. So once you take that off, then you can take this whole assembly and slide it back. Once you get the AC canister and the blower motor pulled back, there's actually 5 nuts that you have to get off. So one of them is this guy right here, and one of them is this guy here. And you won't see the nut on this until you get this back, because there's actually a nut here on this. You take that off, and once you slide this back, you'll see a second nut here. You got to get that off. There's another nut straight down from there. Then there's 2 more that are actually behind the motor that are hard to get. I won't be able to show them to you, but one of them is down here, kind of behind the valve cover. That's actually the easier one. And then there's another one back towards the middle. And if you get a light back there, you'll be able to see a little cutout in the foam. You know, this black foam here. You'll see a little circle cut out going into the firewall there, and that's where the last one is. So you gotta get all of those off in order to get that box out. All right, got the box out here. Getting ready to actually put this back in. And you can kind of see here, heater core lines going up towards there. And just gonna line the rest of it up. And these studs here that go into the firewall, pretty straightforward. I am probably not going to reinstall the nut on this guy here. It's almost impossible to get off. So I'll go ahead and connect up these 2 for sure. This one's pretty difficult, but I'm thinking I can get that one back on. So this is what everything looks like with dash out, box out. Pretty much clear view to the firewall at this point. So you can see everything ready to disconnect. The ECU connectors down here. You've got a pair of vacuum lines that go in here. These are all the holes into the firewall. So you got 2 up here, a couple down here, and then the tricky one over here. Over on the other side of the dash, you can see I took the steering column out. I've seen people do it without doing that, but if you take the steering column out, then it makes it a little bit easier in terms of having more room. You can swing the dash out quite a bit, like you can see here. It gives you a lot more room to work on the box. And you can see here on the back side of this, you've got 4 bolts from this box that go through the firewall. I used a 12 millimeter to get these out. Lost one in the process. There's the new heater core here. The old heater core had a sponge gasket around the perimeter. So I've got some new sponge gasket here that we're gonna put on before we reinstall this. All right, got the new heater core wrapped here with new fresh sponge gasket. Not the prettiest job, but it'll work. So this guy slides down into the compartment here, and really no way to shortcut this job. There's other YouTube videos about people cutting brackets or cutting tubes. That's on different model years of Sport Tracs and Mountaineers, but for this one, really you got to do the job all the way through.